In this video, I am going to explain about sample and sampling, need of sampling, advantages and disadvantages of sampling, of a good sampling, differentiate between technique of sampling, and explain the type of probability and non-probability sampling. The searcher is concerned with the generalizability of the data beyond the sample. For studying any problem, it is impossible to study the entire population. It is therefore convenient to pick out a sample out of the universe proposed to be covered by the study. The process of sampling makes it possible to draw valid inference or generalization on the basis of careful observation of variable within a small proportion of a population. Concept of sample and sampling. Population. It refers to the totality of object or individual regarding which inference are to be made in sampling. We can also define it as it refers to the group of people, atom or unit under investigation and include every individual. So, a question arises, what is sample? It is a collection consistent of a part or a subset of an object or individual of population which is selected for the purpose representing the population sample obtained by collecting information only about some member of population. So, what is sampling? It is a process of selecting a sample from the population. For this population is divided into number of parts that are called sampling unit. What is the need of sampling? There are following points for the need of sampling. Large population can be conveniently covered. Time, money and energy is saved. Helpful when unit of area are homogeneous. Used when percent accuracy is not required. Used when a data is unlimited. So, there are advantages and disadvantages of sampling. First, advantages of the sampling. First advantage is economically. Manageable sample will be reduced the cost compared to entire population. Second point, increased speed. The process of research like collection of data, analysis and interpretation of data take less time than the population. Third point, greater scope. Handling data becomes easier and manageable in case of sample. Moreover, comprehensive scope and flexibility exist in the case of sampling. Accuracy. Due to limited area of coverage, completeness and accuracy is possible. The process of data is done accurately, producing authentic result. Rapport. Better rapport is established with the respondent, which help in validity and reliability of the result. So there are lot of disadvantages of the sampling. First disadvantage is biasness. Chances of biasness selecting leading to erroneous conclusion may prevail. Bias is a sample may be due to faulty method of selection of individual or the nature of phenomena itself. Second, selection of true representative of sample. It is a problem under study is of the complex nature. It becomes difficult to select a true representative sample. Otherwise, result will not be accurate or will be usable. Need for specialized knowledge. The researcher needs knowledge, training and experience in sampling technique, statistical analysis and calculation of problem error lack of those may lead to serious mistakes. X. Changeability of unit. If the unit of population are not homogeneous, the sampling technique will be unscientific. At time, all the individual may not be accessible or may be uncooperative. In such a case, they have to be replaced. This introduces a change in the subject to be studied. Impossibility of sampling. Sometimes population is too small or too heterogeneous to select a representative sample. In such case, census study is the alternative solution. Sampling error may occur in this case. Now, I would like to explain the characteristic of a good sample. So, there are following are the characteristics of the good sample. Number 1. A true representative of the population, free from error due to bias, advocate in size for being reliable. Unit of sample should be independent and relevant. Unit of sample should be complete, precise and up to date. Free from random sampling error. Avoiding substitute the original sample of convenience. Now I am going to explain the technique of sampling. There are different types of sampling technique based on two factors. Number 1, representation based, and number 2, the element selection technique on the representation base. The sample may be probability sampling or it may be non-probability sampling. On the element basis, the sample may be either unrestricted or restricted. Here we will discuss about two types of sampling, probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So, a question arises in mind, what is the difference between probability and non-probability sample? So, simple. Probability sample is one in which each member of the population has equal chance of being selected, but in a non-probability sample, a particular member of population being chosen is unknown. In probability sampling, randomness is the element of control. In non-probability sample, it relies on the personal judgments. So there are types of probability sampling, and these are simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling. Now I am going to explain multistage sampling. Now I am going to explain all these types one by one. So first, simple random sampling. In this, all members have the same chance of being selected. Random method provides an unbiased cross-selection of the population. For example, we wish to draw a sample of 50 students from a population of 400 students. Place all 400 names in a container and draw out 50 names one by one. Now, next is the systematic sampling. In systematic sampling, each member of the sample comes after an equal interval from its previous member. For example, for a sample of 50 students, the sample fraction is 50 over 400 and if we divide, we get 1 over 8. So select one student out of every 8 students in the population in this example. The starting point for the selection is chosen at the random. So next is stratified sampling. The population is divided into smaller homogeneous groups or strata by some characteristic, and from each of these strata a random member are selected. For example, population is the Hazara community of Quetta city or Quetta region. It is divided into strata as professional, skilled worker, labor and manager. Then from each strata sampling fraction, we take the formula sample size divided by total population multiplied total number in strata is chosen. Finally, from each stratum, use sample random or systematic sample method is used to select final sample. 400 Zara in Quetta city, for example, there are 100 professional, 200 skilled labor, 800 labor and 120 manager. If the same sample size is 20, then from each data sample size we can take professional, we take 180 divided by 400 multiply 100, so we get the answer is 20. Similarly, when we talk about the skilled worker, equal 200 divided by 400 multiply 100, then we get answer is 50. Labor equal to 80 divided by 400 multiply 100 is equal to 20. So similarly, manager is equal to 120 divided by 400 multiply 100 equal to 30. For each stratum, select random as systematically. Next is the cluster sampling. A researcher selects a sampling unit at random and then does complete observation of all units in the group. For example, your research involves kindergarten school, select randomly 15 schools, then study will be the children of 15 schools. In cluster sampling, the unit of sampling consists of multiple cases. It is also known as area sampling. The selection of individual member is made on the basis of place, residence or employment. So last is the multistage sampling. The sample to be studied is selected at random at different stages. For example, we need to select a sample of middle class working couple in Quetta in Balochistan. The first stage will be randomly selected a specific number of districts in this province. The second stage involves selection randomly a specific member of rural and urban area of the study. At the third stage, from each area, a specific number of middle class family will be selected, and at the last stage, working couple will be selected from these family. So this is the multi-stage sampling. Now I am going to talk about the type of non-probability sampling. So non-probability sampling are purposive sampling, convenience sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling. Now I am going to explain all these types one by one. So first, purposive sampling. In this sampling method, the researcher selects a typical group of individuals who might represent the large population and then collect data from this group. For example, if a researcher wants to survey the attitude toward the teaching profession of teaching students from lower socio-economic stratum, he or she might survey the teacher teaching in school, catering to students from slum. More specific teacher teaching in rural areas, with assumption that since all teachers teaching in the schools cater to students from the low socio-economic stratum, there are representatives of all the teachers teaching students from low socio-economic stratum. Next is convenience sample. This sample is very popular, especially because it's very easy. In this sample, refer to procedure of obtaining unit or member who are most conveniently available. It consists of units which are obtained because of cases are readily available. In selecting the incidental sampling, the researcher determines the required sample size and then simply collect data. Quota sampling. Thus, in this sampling, the selection of sample is made on the researcher who decide the quotas for selecting number from specific subgroup of the population. The researcher first identifies those categories which he or she feel important to ensure the representation of the population, then establish a sample size for each category and finally select individual on the availability basis. For example, interviewer might be need data from 40 adult and 20 adolescents in order to study student television viewing habit. He therefore will get out the select 20 adult men and 20 adult women, 10 adolescent girl and 10 adolescent boy, so that they could interview them about their student television viewing habit. Next is the snowball sampling. In snowball sampling, the researchers identify and selecting available represent who meet the criteria for inclusion. After the data have been collected from the subject, the researcher asks for a referral of other individuals who would also meet the criteria and represent the population of the concern. In this unit, I discussed the concept of sampling, concept of population and sampling, need of sampling, advantages and disadvantages of sampling, and also I discussed the probability and non-probability sampling. I hope that you will learn this lesson and now you have understand the concept of population, sample and sampling. Thank you very much.